Good morning. This weekend I actually went to Dick's Sporting Goods to look for a couple of different items, and I was kind of curious to see what the crowd would be like. And I wouldn't say that it was full, but there was actually a decent crowd, and people were obviously kind of trickling back in. I wore masks. Probably half of us had masks on. And I still think that's a little divided on how people feel about that, at least here in the Midwest. But it was really good to see kids buying baseball bats with their dads, and I saw some soccer kids looking at some shoes. So that was good to see. And it made me think of this recession that we're in, which started in late February, and how it compares to previous recessions and how fast we are likely to get out of it. And I think what it reminded me of, and I'm going to show you this in just a second, is just how much healthier the consumer is as we face this right now than maybe 11 years ago in the Great Recession or in '01, '02 at the peak of the dot-com bubble. And I think it's important to remember that the consumer and consumer spending is essentially 70% of the economy. So hold that thought again. The consumer and consumer spending is 70% of the economy. So obviously, when people are working and when they've got some funds and they're not over levered, those kinds of things, that helps to create a really strong economy, which obviously we've just had for really the last 10 years. And I'm going to focus on this because I think in '07, '08, this was something that hit me a bit. And what this is a chart, and I'm going to ask you to focus on the right-hand side of the page. And what we're looking at here, first of all, in this upper right-hand corner is household debt service ratio. So basically the percent of your take-home pay that goes to paying debt. And it's really interesting, probably not surprisingly, in late '07, really all of us probably had more debt than we needed. And about 13 cents out of every dollar that we took home went to pay off debt. And it's really interesting over the next 6, 7 years how much that really kind of was a landmark thought for us. And people have been really very thoughtful and foresightful regarding how much debt that they have. And it's really been now for about 5 years, about 9 or 10 cents on the dollar of what we take home actually goes to debt. All the time, all the while during that period, we obviously have increased our household net worth. And so the consumer is actually very healthy right now. And our thought in general is that this is going to take a while. This is probably not a V-shaped recovery. It's probably more like a U or a W at some point. I actually think the W analogy makes the most sense. But again, we've got a consumer that's actually pretty healthy as we encounter all this. They're not spending a lot right now. It makes sense. Savings rates are going up. That always happens when you have a recession. But they're pretty healthy. They've obviously got some stimulus money that's come in. So in my opinion, we're going to come out of this thing, and when we come out of it, we're going to come out of it pretty stridently. Throw in the fact that supply chains are moving home, and again, I think this thing takes a while, at least a few quarters as we get through next winter. And then I think we come out of this pretty strong because the consumer is actually in pretty good financial health. So thanks very much. Hang in there. Hope you all stay safe. Look forward to visiting soon. If you'd like a white paper that we've developed on the demographics of the American consumer right now, please contact me, ray.evans@pegasuskc.com, and we'll be glad to get that in your hands. Thanks very much. Hope you're doing well. Talk soon.